Welcome to another Fact or Fiction Friday. I am the guinea pig, Christopher McKell. He is the professor, Jason Parsons, and we have a good one for you today. I've been hearing a lot about high fructose corn syrup, the enemy. Shouldn't have it in our drinks. Watch out for it being in your food. It's gonna kill you. Too much is no good. I have no idea, but I know who does. This guy right here, Jason.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
Luckily, I stumbled upon this video today so I could help out with this situation. High fructose corn syrup, the bad guy. We've talked about this in other videos. Every time somebody points out and says that a macronutrient, proteins, carbs, fats, alcohol, something is bad for you, it comes back to me talking about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Not too hot, not too cold, not too big, not too small, not too much of anything, and you should be okay. And the same thing is true with high fructose corn syrup. So let's dive into what is this stuff to begin with so you can make a better decision when you go to have your next meal. So high fructose corn syrup, let's break this down. First of all, it's corn syrup. It comes from corn. Typically it's processed and they make this syrup from it. And what they're doing is they're extracting the sugars that are inside that corn. So it's got a high amount of fructose, and different manufacturers, they have this syrup based on, from like 30% to maybe 75, 80% of that sugar inside the syrup being fructose, and they vary it based on how sweet they want the syrup to be, right? So that's the real reason why there's different amounts inside of it. So the higher the concentration, it gets up here and we call it high fructose corn syrup. It's used in all kinds of baked goods. You see it inside of candies. You see a lot of times inside of sodas and even sports drinks, right? So it gets this bad name, I think, mostly because people don't understand like the biochemistry of what this molecule is, what sugars actually are, and how your body even uses them. So hopefully they'll pay attention to this video and they can learn a little bit more about it. So what is fructose? Well, fructose, you can see from the name, fructose is fruit sugar. It is the sugar found inside of pieces of fruit out there. So bananas, apples, pears, grapes, oranges, watermelon, whatever it might be, it's the type of sugar that's inside those, right? Those specific plants make that sugar concentrated in the fruit because it's yummy and delicious, so that something will hopefully come along and eat it and go, oh, this is tasty, eat the seeds and go and poop them out some other place. That plant can spread around the world. That's kind of the basis of having that concentrated sugar. If you think about it, all these things have seeds inside of them. They're tempting treats for animals to come eat them and spread that plant in other places. That's really the basis of what it is. So fructose is nice and sweet. That's why we use it inside that sweetener in those syrups. But let's look at what fructose is from a chemical standpoint. It's the same exact thing, high fructose corn syrup found inside your soda, as sucrose, table sugar, found inside your baked goods and sweets and candies and things like that. It's essentially glucose plus fructose, just like inside this banana over here. Bananas have both of those. This cookie has both of those, and by golly gee whiz, the high fructose corn syrup inside this soda, it has both those sugars also. Sucrose, table sugar, the white stuff you see that you put inside your Starbucks to make it taste better, because just by itself it's a little strong. Man, maybe that's just me. I'm kind of a wussy with my Starbucks.
He's a wuss. I drink it black nowadays.
I can't do that, man. You're way more of a man than I am. Good job, sir. Good job. So, sucrose is a disaccharide. That just means it has two sugars combined. And you can see with Chris's amazing diagram over here, we put those two sugars side by side right here. So, glucose plus fructose, when they're combined, there's a bond between them. That's table sugar, that's sucrose, that's what that is. This is a monosaccharide, one sugar. This is a monosaccharide, one sugar. You combine them, they chemically bond here in the middle. It's table sugar, yummy, good stuff. Put it in your Starbucks, it's better for you. This same thing is found inside of fruits, and it's definitely found inside this corn syrup. It's just in different combinations. Corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, the difference between that and sucrose is these aren't bonded together. They're single sugars, monosaccharide, just floating inside that suspension in that syrup. But other than the fact that they're not bound together right here in the middle, there's no difference. It's the same thing. So sucrose, table sugar, is the same as glucose plus fructose floating around inside of high fructose corn syrup. So it's a liquid version of table sugar. That's what it is, right?
So with that being said, is there any difference between the different fruits and concentration of the sugars or the fructose?
Great question. So when you look at fruit sugars, fructose, different fruits, they do have slightly different amounts, more or less, based on what it is. But I think the concern most people have is, do I have to be careful with certain fruit, so if I eat that kind of fruit, that's the thing that's going to make me gain weight or have a problem with? In reality, you're not going to mess up and gain a bunch of weight eating fruit. You're just not going to do it. The reason is that apple, that orange, it's mostly water and fiber with some sugar in it, okay? The problem comes, and we talked about this in one of our other videos, when you take these things and you juice them, throw it in that machine, and it pulls all the fiber out, and it just leaves the concentrated sugar water behind it. That fiber helps you feel fuller, it fills your belly up, it stretches out, makes it so you can't eat too much. You can't eat too many apples, it just doesn't happen. It's not gonna happen, right? 3, 4 apples in, you're like, okay, I'm done, I'm full, I can't do anymore, right? In order to get to the point where too much fructose, right, it starts to have a negative effect, and some people it does have a negative effect, you need more than 50 grams in a sitting, in one meal, right? And that'd be like 7+ apples worth of sugar to get to that point. You're not gonna eat 7 apples. I don't care who you are, unless you're one of those professional eaters,
Right.
Joey Chestnut throwing hot dogs in.
78 hot dogs.
I don't know how that guy's not 500 pounds.
With the bun.
That's crazy.
And they somehow get some water down.
I don't know.
Chase it down.
He's a machine. That's an athlete right there.
Not even that big.
I know, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah. So it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna mess up with fruit. I don't care if it's grapes, apples, oranges, bananas, watermelon, doesn't matter what it is. You're not gonna mess it up. You can't do too much, which is one of the reasons why we always talk about, if your goal is fat loss, err towards the side of whole foods as opposed to processed foods. You're not going to mess up whole foods because of the fiber in the water for fructose, but you might drink too many sodas because it's already concentrated sugar inside there. Same thing, you might drink too many sports drinks like this pretty picture Chris drew over here. Neither of these things are good or bad, but they are concentrated, processed forms of sugar, so there's a lot more smashed into a small spot. When it's really concentrated, sugars could negatively affect you if you have, drumroll please, too much. Just don't have too much, that's not an issue, all right? Don't do more than 50 grams in a sitting, you should be fine. Now, you drew that pretty picture of that sports drink over there for a reason. Sports drink manufacturers know that when you consume fructose, it does take a little bit longer for your body to break it down and process it. It has to go through the liver. Glucose doesn't have to do that. Glucose, you consume it in whatever form it is. It goes down to your stomach, your intestines. It's absorbed in the bloodstream. It shoots to your muscles. It's available for use. It's great. It's pretty quick and straightforward. Fructose has to go through a different pathway. It has to go to your liver, and then it gets a different way of being pushed into the cells. Instead of using insulin, it uses something else. So it's a little bit slower, right? Some time-release sugar, if you will. Not the right way to describe it, but you get the point. So if you have a sports drink where your goal is to have some extra sugar into your muscles are ready to go do your work, you decide, hey, I've gone through one of my 24-hour intermittent fasting days where I didn't eat for 24 hours, and then you decide you want to go do one of your HIIT workouts over at Orange Theory, you need some sugars in you. You got to be able so you don't bonk. You're like, oh, get all lightheaded and stuff. So a sports drink is a great idea for you there. 20, 30 minutes before the workout, drink that thing. It's got a combination. Look on the ingredients on the sports drink. It has multiple sugars listed for a reason. When you combine glucose and fructose on the side of that drink right there, it absorbs faster, it gets into your system quicker, your body can use those sugars for that exercise, you're in a better place.
And with that being said, since I get the drinks, we have the different types of kind of foods here. Before your workout, they all have the same sugar.
Yep.
So does it matter which one you have before your workout? If you have a soda or eat a cookie or a banana or apple, whatever?
No, great question. So I always recommend people, the majority of the carbohydrates, sugars, that you consume really should be based on your activity. If you're not an active person, you have a sedentary job, you're gonna go home and sit on the couch and become one with the cushions, you probably don't have a high need for a lot of carbohydrates in your day, so you probably shouldn't consume that much. However, those people that do have activity going on, whether you have a more strenuous job or you want to go do a workout or something like that, you're probably gonna need to have some sugars available to go do that work. So that means you want to plan for it. Purposefully think about, hey, I need some sugar in my muscles ready to go. So if you eat a really complex carbohydrate, starch like a potato, that takes a while to break down. It's complex, it takes longer to digest, it takes a while for it to get distributed, turned into glucose, stuck into the muscles. You might need an hour, hour and a half out so it can process, depending on how much you had to eat. But if you have a simpler, less complex sugar source like a piece of fruit, maybe 45 minutes before your workout, you can eat that, boom, it gets absorbed. If you have a really processed thing like a soda, as crazy as it sounds, you can have a soda as a pre-workout beverage to get simple sugars, glucose, into your bloodstream, put in the muscles, so you can go do that HIIT workout over at Orange Theory. It's just based on how processed it is. Less processed takes longer, more processed, it's real quick. So you can have that sports drink or soda 20 minutes before your workout. If you're having a more complex carbohydrate, maybe an hour, hour and a half, something like that.
Very interesting. We thought cookies before the workout.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Ultimately, your cells don't look at the sugar inside that cookie any different than they look at the sugar inside that banana, any different than they look at the sugar inside of a piece of kale. Kale tastes like crap, but your cells don't know any different. Your muscle cells, they don't care. Kale chips, good. Isn't it weird how
pretty good.
Raw kale is horrible as far as that's my opinion. But you bake it with a little sea salt on there and some olive oil.
I get the kale chips every once in a while over at Field of Greens. We have here locally. And I don't know, did they put like wheat germ or something on there? There's
That's
something
weird.
on there. I don't know what. Maybe not wheat germ. I don't know what it is. They put some type of seasoning. I don't know what it is. It's not salt.
Is it tasty?
Yeah.
Nice. They might put baker's yeast. Sometimes people put baker's yeast on stuff to get that umami sort of.
I don't even know what wheat germ is.
He's just making stuff up.
Looked weird. Cool. So it looks like, as always, Jason's come through, disproven the fact that high fructose corn syrup is going to kill you as the bad guy. Sugar is inevitably sugar.
Sugar. It sucks. We do these videos with a fact or fiction Friday, right? And most of the time it's fiction, and it bums me out because I don't want to keep being negative. But our goal is to as a trainer, I'm trying to inform my client first, who's getting amazing results. How much have you lost so far?
Down 45 pounds since we began.
In like 100 days or something like that?
Yeah.
A little over 3 months? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. If you watch these videos in sequence, you can see the dude, he's disappearing. He's an incredible shrinking man. It's awesome.
And then these are the same things that I'm learning from Jason.
So we want to share it with you.
That the ideas and principles that I'm following to do what I've done and keep with the things I like to eat. I still eat my pizza, I have fruit, I have carbs, potatoes.
A frosty adult beverage here and there?
I drink my beer, have my glass of wine, drink some Tito's sodas. You know, have whatever I want, because I know that to keep on my diet long term for my lifestyle, my health and my life, I need to be able to have what I like, or I'm just going to fall off like I have in the past.
Yeah. It needs to be sustainable for you.
Right, and I proved it because I did this I started this journey during the football season and the holidays and lost all this weight during that time up till now, so it can be done. And now that I've proven it through that time, I mean, the rest of the year is going to be a breeze, and then year after year, now it's become part of my lifestyle.
Yep.
So,
that's great.
You know, we hope you enjoy these. We're going to continue to put these out every Friday, and if you have any questions, debunking that you want to try to prove him wrong instead of the other way around, leave the comments below, write any questions, answer statements, poke a jab at Jason. He'll poke right back even harder. I mean, he's a pretty big, strong guy.
Poke.
So we hope you enjoy this one. Enjoy your sugar, and have a great weekend.